Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and it is Soul Sunday. For those of you watching for the first time or watching on the replay, let me just explain how we do this. The first little while, we would do some news, views, and updates, and then we'll get on to the topic of today. And today, being Soul Sunday, I decided to pick up some quotes from Oprah Winfrey because I thought that would be really nice for us to be able to get grounded with her today. So first of all, in terms of the news, views, and updates, I'm waiting to see if anybody's got any news that they want to add in here. But at the moment, we just need to warn you that it's 345 days until Christmas. On the very good side, hi Judy, on the very good side, it's only 65 days until spring. I don't do winter well. And it's just 1 month and 2 days from Valentine's Day. If you've got any plans for what you want to do on Valentine's Day, you better start working on it now because it's coming up really quickly. And by the way, talking about that, I just wanted to let you know that one of my first goals in terms of walking was to walk 25 miles by Valentine's Day. Well, I've already passed that. I think I've done 27 miles already. So that goes to show you, if you set a goal, sometimes you overachieve it. I really am quite surprised. I did not expect to walk that far this soon, but I am happy that I have. And, you know, it's just like I've now gone on to phase 2 of my walk. And for those of you who don't know, I am doing a virtual walk on something called my virtual mission. And I am doing a virtual walk across British Columbia through to Calgary in Alberta, in Canada. So that's what I'm up to. In terms of birthdays, as far as I know, we haven't got any today, but we've got, for those of you who remember Sarah Beth, it's her birthday on Monday, that's tomorrow. We have Christy's birthday on Tuesday. For those of you who remember Crystal, it's her birthday on Thursday. And then Maria, I wonder how many of you remember Maria? I think she was from Malta, was somewhere in that area in the Mediterranean. Anyway, it's her birthday on Saturday. And for those of you watching my health updates, it is the week that I'm going to have my CAT scan. So I'm a little bit excited about that. Did I cut my hair? Yes. In answer to your question, yes. Not a whole lot, just I cut some off the back. You know, every now and then it drives me insane, so I just cut a couple of inches off it. Thank you. You know, it's funny. I've liked my hair a whole lot better since I've been cutting it myself. I don't know why that is, but you know, it just is true. And it's obviously saving me a fortune, but it's really weird, isn't it? How sometimes just doing it yourself, you get the look that you want to get. And I just, yeah, I'm happy. So, and I'm learning a lot. So I'm trying to think what else we have in the way of news. Lauren is still in hospital. But I believe doing well enough to be home soon. Her mom is still in hospital. Sorry, I've got allergies going on. Her mom is still in hospital, but doing better. So we heard today. She was in for back problems, but apparently she's doing a lot better. For those of you who didn't hear, Marie's sort of household puppy, you know, the family puppy, passed on last week. So we understand the pain that she is in, for those of us who've ever had a puppy in our lives and lost it. So that was really sad. In terms of good news, I know we've had some. And I can't remember what it is. Isn't that funny? Obviously, I've got something that's driving me insane on my lip. Anyway, for good news, for those of you who go to the website, DearMamaSal.com, I just wanted to let you know that I managed to get Matthew working on it, and we've managed to get the security thing put back into it again. I've been paying for it all along. I just didn't know how to install it. Matthew's done that for me. I'm very, very grateful. Pat, yes, a couple of bits of update on Pat. Thank you, Jody. Number one, did she say 36 pounds that she's lost? But it's a lot of weight. And the second thing is that she has taken on a full-time job, which I think surprised us all, because she's got a full-time job. She's looking after all, those little ones. 38 pounds, I'm getting told by Jody. Thank you, Jody, for the correction. For those of you who want to know how my weight is doing, I have now got back to where I was before I put on 2 pounds over Christmas, just after Christmas, actually. All right, so Trina's saying, hi, Trina. I joined a local walking group, and it's starting next Thursday, meeting in our local car park. Looking forward to meeting new people. Absolutely. What a great idea. Not only do you get some exercise, but you get some new people. I know that there's a dog walking group that meets in my neck of the woods on a Saturday morning. Well, I don't do mornings, do I? And they meet early on a Saturday morning as well, obviously, so they can get the best out of the day. But, it's just like, I went a couple of times with Bean, but, it's like, really? I'm not getting up at that time of the day. They obviously don't go to bed at the time of day that I do. Yeah, I think that's wonderful, Trina. And if Jody will make a note of that for me, I will put it up on Facebook, if that's okay with you, just so that other people know that you are doing it literally, not just virtually. So that's great. Now, what I would suggest, Trina, if you've got any way of keeping track of those steps that you do when you're doing that, just let us, put it into the system and walk with us. Oh, that's awesome. So you're bringing your dog too. That's great. Do we have your dog on the pets page? What's your dog's name? It's funny, isn't it? I probably know the name better than the fact that it's your dog. But if we haven't got your dog on the pets page, okay, Jim. So it's like I never know which dogs I've got on there and which ones I haven't. So that's good to know. All right, so here we go. I don't know if there's any other news that I'm aware of. Jody, what have I forgotten? For those of you who don't know who Jody is, the reason I keep asking her is Jody is my second brain. I only have, a couple of marbles running around my head, and Jody's got the other two. So between the two of us, Jody is my admin, and she remembers things that I never remember. And I'm lucky. It's a bit like licorice all sorts. I like one sort and somebody else likes the other sort. So we share them. But, it's like Jody's inclined to remember things that I clean forget. So that's why I'm always asking her to update me if she can remember. Mind you, with the two of us, as I said, we've both got just 2 brain cells running around. But when we put the 2 together, we get 4. And that's really quite exciting for us. Yep. All right. That's good. All right. So I'm going to do a time check for 9 minutes. If you could just know that one. And let's get on with some of the quotes. I chose Oprah. If any of you've got anybody else that you'd particularly like me to do quotes around, let me know. I love being able to do the quotes around different people for different things. On a Friday lunchtime, I like to do the success quotes. So, if you've got any successful people that you want to hear quotes from, that's when I would slot it in. On a Friday evening, we do emotional intelligence type stuff. But on Sundays, we like to do the soul work. And I just thought Oprah was a great one. And she started off with a great quote for the year, I thought, which was, "Cheers to a new year. Another chance for us to get it right." How many of you going, yeah, I needed that extra, I needed another go at this one. And, I wonder what it is that you want to do this year and get it right. For some of you who were listening on Friday, you know that yesterday was the day that I got it right about quitting smoking. And I did that 6 years ago. And it was really funny because I had tried absolutely everything to quit. And, I actually quit for a whole year once and then went to go and visit my mother overseas. And she was a chain smoker. And I'm afraid that within 3 days, I was back to smoking again. I'm not blaming her, but, monkey see, monkey do. And then it was really funny because I can remember that how much I had changed, because I can remember visiting my aunt overseas. And when she asked me what would I like to drink, I said, I'd love a coffee. And she said, no, I meant a real drink. And I said, yeah, I'd still like a coffee. And she said, oh, have you become one of those? And I don't know if any of you relate to this. It's like, just because I was no longer a drinker, in her view, I had lost a few brownie points. But then, of course, I had to remember that that generation grew up believing that if you drank alone, you were alcoholic, but if you drank with somebody, then you weren't. So that's why they always wanted a buddy to drink with, so that they could say that they weren't alcoholic. But I can remember how excited they got as the clock came to 5 o'clock. I don't know if any of you relate to this at all, if you grew up with this in your family, but for some reason it was midday and 5 o'clock. Oh yeah, Jody, big guilt trip. I remember it very, very well. And I just remember saying, no, I'd love a drink, but I'd like coffee. Well, who drinks coffee at this time of day? I do. Yep. So what I learned to do was just let her pour me a little 1/4 of an inch of wine and I'd pretend to drink it. Which I didn't, but yeah. All right, so Oprah also said, the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. Wow. Not to wait for anything, but just live it now. I was thinking about that. Jody, how many years ago did you and I talk about you taking that trip to the beach? And I know that's a dream of yours because we were talking about it when I first met you. That's what I first remember about you, was challenging you to find a way to get to the beach. And so I'm going to really, push you this year to make that dream come true. It's like there has to be a possibility. And it's like, it's a very doable thing if we get it planned right. So just know I'm going to be talking to you about it every week. Oprah also said this, and I thought this was very, very valid. She said, think like a queen. A queen is not afraid to fail. Failure is another stepping stone to greatness. A queen doesn't get to quit just because it gets uncomfortable. A queen is a position that they hold for a lifetime, unless they abdicate. And so, and they will screw up, things happen, things go wrong, but they don't get out of the way of it, right? They don't get to hide or just get out of the limelight or do whatever they would like to do. They are still in that position. Now, sometimes they get out of it for a bit. We remember that the Queen got out of the limelight when Princess Diana died, but basically had to come back into it before she wanted to, just because the British public demanded it. All right, so Jody says she's been there since then. Okay, good. Sorry, Jody. Okay, just not able to go on the sand as of yet, working on it. Yeah. So I was trying to think. I saw a wonderful picture this week, Jody, and that's hi, Kimmy. That's what made me think of it. There was a picture of a beach somewhere, and I can't remember where it was, where they actually had taken a wooden path all the way to the shore. In other words, so people on a wheelchair could get all the way to the water and dip their feet in the water. I can't remember where that was. Yeah, getting across the sand is a challenge. But I'm thinking, is it possible on a sled? You know, I'm thinking you're in New Hampshire. What would you have in New Hampshire that would make it possible? And I'm thinking, I reckon a sled and a couple of people along to help would be great. There's some in New Jersey. Is that right, Isabel? Thank you for letting us know. And there are some handicap access chairs now as well. Okay, you see, here we go. We can do this. So think like a queen. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is part of moving forward. Hi, Beth. Good to see you. I missed you coming in there, I think. Now, this would, this is very relevant to Beth being here. Beth, this one is especially for you, in my view. Passion is energy. Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. And, I have to say, Beth, that one of the things I really feel about you is that you have a passion for everything that you do. Whether it's being a mother, being a wife, being a grandmother, being a worker, being an entrepreneur, every time I hear you, every time I hear about what you're up to, what the word I would use is, you have a passion for everything that you do. And I think that is absolutely wonderful. So keep up the good work. And I also know that you don't accept any excuses on the fact that you have physical limitations or what other people would call limitations. And I think in that, Beth, you are a role model for so many people here. A lot of people would be going, well, I can't do that because, I've got this or that or whatever. But you just don't let anything get in your way. And I think that is commendable to a very large degree. All right, now, Oprah also said this, and I wonder whether it brings up anything for any of you. Hi, Joanna. Good to see you again. Big hug. Remind me where you're from, Joanna, because it takes me a while. Isabel, no, you're from New Jersey, right, Isabel? I hope I've got that right. But Joanna, I'm going to have to keep asking you until I get it, so be patient with me. All right, so Oprah also said that the more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. Right? So I totally agree with that. I absolutely, totally agree with that. From Quebec. Ah, bonjour, bonsoir. Okay. And Joanna's from the Bay Area. All right. So I'm sure that Jody, could you make a note of those for me so that I can have a little reminder for myself? I probably still get it wrong, guys, but I'll be trying. And thank you, Kimmy's from Wyoming. It's one place I've always thought I would end up visiting, Kimmy. So just be aware. So how many of you praise your life and celebrate it? You're happy to be alive, regardless of what's going on. That you actually wake up. I literally wake up in the morning and I go, oh, that's a good start. I woke up, and then I have to sort of work out, do I have what it takes to get out of bed? Well, apparently yes. That's good. That's another good start. So it's really important that we appreciate these things, all right? And the fact that it takes me, I don't know about the rest of you, but that there is this little bit of delay between my feet hitting the floor and my being able to stand upright. I have to wait for all those muscles to get in the right place and the bones to get in the right place. And then, do a little bit of this before I get to put the weight on my on my body and know that it will balance me. Now, there were days in my life where I would never have thought twice about that, but I'm at a stage now where I do have to think twice about it, but I'm still so happy that it works. Yes. Something, Kimmy, that's wonderful that you thank God at New Year's that you're still alive. Exactly. All right. A lot of people didn't make it through to New Year's this year. And a lot of people with way more money, way more everything than you didn't make it through because they chose not to. So, my attitude is, well done. You not only made it through physically, but you also made it through mentally. Now, this is a very well-known quote from Oprah, and I wonder what it brings up for you. Be thankful for what you have, and you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you never will. And you will never have enough. All right, so be thankful for what you have, and you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. And that's why I try to make sure that every day, I I look at my face and go, I'm glad to still have one. Hello, face. I am glad, when I'm busy sort of looking at the bags, I'm going, well, I'm glad that that's just the bags. I am so glad that, the Lubriderm has done the good work on all my wrinkles, and all that I'm left with is my bags. And, but I'm working on that, and I'm looking at the chins. And I look at the chins and go, well, it's nice to have you because it means that I'm still alive, but I'm working on getting rid of you because I've had you long enough. Don't you think I will look that much better, when I have my, How many of you going, yes, Al, that's going to look quite a bit better. I want that shape back. Apparently I shouldn't press quite so hard against it. But it's just like, but I'm happy to have them in the meantime. I got, I worked hard to get them. I ate a lot of food to get them. Now, how many of you, I know a lot of you will relate to this if you really get in the moment. Oprah said, where there is no struggle, there is no strength. Where there is no struggle, there is no strength. In other words, the only way that we build personal strength is to struggle, right? That I spent a lifetime, I said this in something that I wrote about quitting smoking. I spent a lifetime trying to quit. And I tried absolutely everything there was that ever came out that helped you quit. Now, that told me that I wanted to quit. But, like so many things in your life, wanting to and doing it, can be light years apart. But I knew that I kept trying. And as long as I kept trying, I wasn't failing on myself, right? I wanted to quit enough that I kept trying. And it was really funny because when I look at it, when I finally did quit because of Juliana and Benji and Judy's new house, that's what made me stop that last time. I just chose never to take it up again after that weekend. And that was the most amazing thing. As I came across the border, my pattern of behavior was always to go through the duty-free. There are two different borders near where I am, and one is a duty-free one and one isn't. And I chose not to go through the duty-free one, which all my life I had gone through, or all my life in Canada, because I wanted to pick up, a couple of cartons of cigarettes. And I actually chose not to go through that. I actually chose to go straight through without picking up any duty-free. And I knew then that something had changed in me. Now, was it easy? No, wasn't easy. Did the devil want me to go back to smoking? Oh yeah, big time. But, I look at it, and by the way, it still does every now and then. Every now and then I go, I really could do with a cigarette. And then I go, no, you probably could do with a bit of a break or a cup of coffee or somebody to talk to, but you definitely don't need a cigarette anymore. You've proved yourself on that one. But it's funny how it still comes up, which is why I am learning to be patient with myself about the sugar issues. For those of you who don't know, I recently got diagnosed with diabetes, so I'm now doing the struggle again, this time about food. But I can do this. I thought this was a really cute quote from Oprah. You know what I love about her, she's very self-effacing. She can laugh at herself very well. And she said, I still have my feet on the ground. I just wear better shoes. Which I thought was really cute. It's like, yeah, I'm still got my feet on the ground, but the shoes I'm wearing a lot better. This, of course, is very dear to my heart, all right, which is real integrity is doing the right thing. Knowing that nobody's going to know whether you did it or not. How many of you in the last month have done something for the benefit of somebody else, but not told anybody about it? And I cannot tell you how good that feels. I can't tell you enough about that. I've done a couple of things in the last month, and 3 actually that I can think of. I thought it was 2, but just while I was thinking about it, it was 3, where there were little things that I did and nobody knew about it, but it made me feel good, and that's why it's a good thing to do. It's not about, oh, look at me, look what a nice person I am, or whatever. It's just like, I felt good for doing it, and that's why I do it. And then I did the opposite in a way, because there were a couple of things that I normally would have asked for free help for, and I just said to people, just give me a quote, let me know how much it's going to cost for me to pay for that. I may need a couple of months to save up the money to do it, but just know I will pay you. Do you understand? It's just like I'm trying to stay in integrity, even in the things that I do. I cannot tell you enough about integrity. Because what I found out is an awful lot of people don't have it. They want to show the world this face, but they actually are different in reality. Now, you will see me take away the pedestal quite regularly. If any viewer tries to put me on some sort of pedestal, I will, shatter that pedestal as fast as I can, because I don't want to live up to that, because I know that's not who I am. Who I am is a very human being, and I make mistakes and I mess up all over the place, and I am by anything but perfect. And so to me, I don't want people to put me on that pedestal. When I meet them one-on-one, and I do that quite often, I will meet people in a store or something and they know me, and I've had it where, I literally have my head down and behaving myself and everything else. And I will just say something, because I do, and they'll recognize the voice and they go, "You're Mama Sal." And I go, yeah, okay. And so, to me, it's like, because once they've recognized me, then I, need to do the selfie and do that sort of stuff, because that's the right thing to do. But, it's funny, because I always make sure that I go, please remember, I was just a customer a few minutes ago, and I am still just a customer. I just happen to be one that you know of. Oprah also said, doing the best at this moment puts you in the best place for the next moment. This is the whole thing we talk about on Friday lunchtime, all right? Which is, whatever your goal is, just take one more step this week. Don't worry about trying to take 25 steps. Just take one step this week. So anybody got a goal that they're trying to achieve and stressing themselves out about it? It is just like, just take one more step, please. When I'm downsizing, it's just one more box or one more section. My problem is, every time I get it all tidied up, I then untidy it again, because I'm taking the next lot of nyaga, that's Zulu for crud. I take the next lot of crud out, and now I've got to sort it out again, and therefore everything gets a mess again. And I find that very soul destroying at times, but I have to keep reminding myself I am getting there because I'm doing it. And sometimes you have to make a mess to make it tidy. Does that make sense in anybody's mind other than mine? What I said to my realtor was my back bedroom, which is my craft room. I said, okay, that's my next target area. And she said, well, how are you going to tidy this up? I said, you're going to help me take everything out of it. And she said, what? I said, let's spend 10 minutes. Let's take everything out that, so that I can have it all over my hallway. And she goes, why would you do that? I said, because that'll drive me insane. If it's in the back room and I can shut the door, why would it drive me insane? If it's in my hallway and I'm tripping over it every day, believe you me, it might take a couple of weeks, but it'll get cleared. And so that's the way that I do it. Jody, how's your table? I keep meaning to ask you. I am actually quite shocked. Hi there, Britt. How are you doing? I'm actually quite shocked. One of the things I'm noticing is that my kitchen is staying clean a lot longer. We're doing quotes from Oprah Winfrey, just so you know what's going on, Britt. And for those of you who don't know Britt, his name is Paul, and we've always called him the Brit because we had two different Pauls that came in at the same time. So, yeah. So what Oprah also said was breathe, let go, and remind yourself that this very moment is the only one that you have for sure. We spend so much time worrying about the future when really we don't even know if we're going to be in the future, right? Something could happen tonight and we could never make it to the future. And so the whole trick about being happy is to be happy in the moment, not to spend your moment worrying yourself stupid about next week or next month or next year. The trick is to keep planning and working towards a better future, but in the moment, the only thing you're sure of is the here and now. And then what she also said was the challenge of life, she said she had found, is to build a resume that doesn't simply tell the story about what you want to be, but is a story about who you want to be. It's not enough. Well, one of the things she also said, and I'm sure the quote will come up, it's not about the money. It's about what do you want to leave the world? Work on that. And, if you do it long enough, hard enough, whatever, the money will eventually follow you if you're lucky. But the main thing is that you give to the world what it is you want to be able to give. And, each of us have been given gifts. And it's really important that we use them. Yes, and Kimmy's reminding us all, right? Don't worry about things that could happen or what people might think of you. I can assure you, I bet you in her time, Oprah's had more than her fair share of haters. Can you imagine how many haters she must have had about her weight? But the truth is, whatever weight she was, she still kept up doing. She still kept on doing what she knew was right. Yeah, you want to be a pop star and you've got no idea how to go about it. That's depressing. Well, I think in your own mind, you already are a pop star. And I think you've gone about it the right way. You've applied to America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent. You sing when you go to Butlins. Now the difference is I am an artist, right? I don't try to be, I am one, because I paint. And so to me, what you actually, I think what you're saying is you want to make money doing it, right? You want all that being a pop star will bring you. Well, I'm not sure you want that life, but if you do, then best of luck to you. So what is it that you want that being a pop star will bring you? And while you're giving us that information, let me go on with Oprah's quotes. Do the one thing you think you cannot do and fail at it. And then try again. Do it better the second time. The only people who ever tumble are those who never mount the high wire. This is your moment. Own it. And so, to me, it's like, how will you ever get good at anything unless you keep doing it? And, it's a really important thing. I certainly don't think I'm good at a lot of things yet, but I still keep working on them. Yeah, so you want to be in the limelight. You want to be on stage doing what you love and not having a regular job, because that is your job. Okay. I totally relate to that, Britt. I knew the first time that I was on stage by accident, giving a speech by accident, I knew that that was what I wanted to do. I really knew that this was something that I wanted to do again, and I totally relate to that. So maybe there is another way for you to be on stage. Maybe if you're not doing it as a singer, maybe you could do it as a comic or as an actor or something like that. How did I get there? I assure you, I spent an awful lot of time giving my talent away for free. And quite honestly, the reason I got onto the stage and got paid was because, yes, a very long, hard slog, yep. But the thing was this, that I actually didn't plan it. I had a success story that was written about in a magazine, and then somebody phoned me and said, would you come and tell my people how you did it? That was what happened. And I said, sure. I didn't know they paid good money for that. I found that out along the way. So, to me, I got into being a speaker quite by accident. It wasn't what I planned, but I was successful at what I did. And that's what led me to be a speaker. So I look at, if you read the stories of most actors or most bands, right, the odds are against you ever making it. We know that. But every now and then, somebody pops their head up and they don't drown, if you know what I mean. And so you look at it and you go, yes, maybe it is dumb luck. Maybe it is the right place at the right time. I believe Harrison Ford, right? He was a carpenter on a set the day that, and they needed somebody to read some lines and they picked on him. I mean, it's just like, there he was, the carpenter on the set, and they went, hey, you, come and read these lines. And he did. And they went, oh, we like him. And the rest is history. And I'm sure that there are lots of others. I keep thinking about people like Sean Connery, who could never do any accent but his own, but was so good at what he did, nobody ever cared. But it's more than, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I think it's more than that. I think that's he was working really hard as a carpenter. All right. It wasn't who he knew. He just happened to be in the right place at the right time that day. And then Oprah also said, when I look into the future, it's so bright, it burns my eyes. All right. I love that. Now, this one is one that you can all take to the bank for this week. So here you go. Listen up, people. This one is If you want to have a goal for this week, this might be a great one for you. What she said was, I believe that every single event in life happens in an opportunity to choose love over fear. Love over fear. How many of you need to practice that this week? All right? Because so many of us choose fear over love. And this is one of the ones that I, as you've noticed when I'm driving around this week or this year, I keep correcting myself because I found that my mind has a moment. Britt, please don't say kill me, please, because if it happened, it would be really sad. I find that these little expressions that we have that people throw out can be quite dangerous for us. Yes, choose love over fear. So whatever you're doing this week, right, and you find yourself acting from a place of fear, a lot of you know, I quote a guy called Dr. Jerry Jampolsky, and he wrote a book called Love is Letting Go of Fear. Jody, I'd like to put that into the resources, if you can just make a note. Love is Letting Go of Fear. And Jerry Jampolsky said, that basically there are two emotions, love and fear, and every other emotion is a derivative of one of those, right? We either are coming from a place of love. Well, that's awesome, Joanna. If you wrote that on a sticky note to remind you and stuck it, on your bathroom mirror, you'll be amazed how many times you can look at that. And when you're feeling angry at somebody or you're feeling resentful or whatever, and you say to yourself, did I choose love or fear? And you go, I guess I was a bit fearful on that one. What would I do if I really loved that person? That's what I ask myself now, right? Like when I have a little snippy moment with the guy that parked his car in the middle of the car park and having a little chat so that I couldn't get where I wanted to go, I have to remember, that maybe he didn't do it intentionally. Maybe it was his love for the person that just happened to drive by and he didn't want to miss that moment. And I have to breathe and remember the road is not mine. The car park does not belong to me, and he is equally entitled to use it. Although, Joanna, that does get a little bit challenging for me every now and then because I'm a human being. Right, and here we go. This one is another stick it on your mirror moment. Oprah said, the greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. Some of you have experienced that. That we can spend our life complaining about what we don't have, but we could choose to live a life of gratitude and be happy immediately. I found that, the moment that I heard I had diabetes, my instant reaction, as you know, was, self-inflicted wound. What do I need to do? My doctor just looked at me and went, what? And I said, well, self-inflicted wound. What do I need to do now? I didn't blame anybody but myself for having become diabetic. And now what I want to know is, what do I need to do so I can go back to not being diabetic? That's what I choose. Will it be an easy journey? No. But is it what I choose to do? Yep. I choose to start doing the right things again. Now, it might be too late. It might be like global warming, and I might have left it too late. But, I don't want to go blaming everybody. It's not fair. And why have I got diabetes? Well, I chose that, right? I did that for myself. All right. Good night, Trina. All the best. And, enjoy the replay when you get there. By the way, start the replay at 45 minutes. Trina, just make a note of 45 minutes in. That's when you left. That'll save you lots of time trying to find where was I. 45 minutes, take it up from there. All right. So, I look at it and I go, I can choose how I look at diabetes. I can look at it and be very, I've got a CAT scan coming up, as you all know. That's coming up this week. Now, could I be driving myself incredibly, I could be scaring myself stupid about that as well. Britt, you're saying life is too short to deny yourself the stuff you enjoy. Well, it's how I enjoy it. Britt, do I want to have legs amputated because of diabetes? Do I want to be, suffering from all the things that people with diabetes, do I want to have incredible welts coming up on my legs where they won't heal? No, I don't want those if I can help it. So no, I don't want to just stuff my face full of whatever I want. It could happen anyway, but I choose to try and minimize it. That is my choice. And, you can do whatever you like, Britt. That's the joy of life. Hi, Pat. Good to see you. And I was just talking about you earlier. So, yeah, I totally understand your point. Of course, I totally understand your point. And Britt, this is where we each get to make our own choice. All right? However you want to live your life is your business, and how I want to live mine is mine. And I just believe that I would like to, yes, be like Kimmy, which is get my diabetes under control. That's all I'd like to do. And I'd like to get healthier generally. I want to lose at least 20 pounds and get healthier. So Oprah also said, follow your instincts. And that's where true wisdom manifests itself. All right? By following your instincts. And I would say, if you can follow your good instinct, your positive instinct, not your negative ones. I'm not saying act out your negative instincts, because that's not what I would wish for you. So I look at it and go, I really want to follow my good instincts. I keep asking myself, if I really love this person, how would I treat them? What would I do? Would I forgive them this problem? If I really cared about this person, what would I do? Well, that's awesome, Kimmy. We're so proud of you. Metformin, right. I'm trying to find out whether I will have to take it or not, but I'm hoping that I won't. You see, Oprah said, I don't think of myself as a poor, deprived ghetto girl who made good. I think of myself as somebody who from an early age knew I was responsible for myself and had to make good. All right? I was responsible and had to make good. So I think, you remember that we have one viewer who always said, why do I keep being treated as a child? And the answer is because you keep acting like one. People cannot treat you like an adult if you keep acting like a child. And so to me, that's really important that we take responsibility for our own actions and our own ways of living in this world. And I think this is so true as well. She said, you become what you believe, not what you think or what you want. You become what you believe. I say so often, all right, that, here we are at close to 1.25 million views. Did I believe? I actually didn't believe that would happen. I've got to be quite honest. I didn't believe that would happen. All I knew was I said to myself, if the broadcasts help anybody, I want to continue doing them. And so what I did was I sent a benchmark to myself. And if anybody said, well, that really helped me last week, I appreciate that, I'd go, okay, fine, that's another tick. You keep going, because it made a difference in somebody's life. And it was really funny because that was my benchmark the whole time. And if somebody sent me an email and said, I really want to thank you because I've been listening, but I haven't told you that I'm listening. You don't know about me, but this is who I am. But I really wanted to write and thank you. I go, okay, that means I need to continue. And it's really funny because 6 years later, here we are, and nearly 1.25 million people have popped in one way or another to visit Dear Mama Sal. So to me, Britt, you're asking me a question that, I cannot answer. All right. You're saying that the control of your life was taken out of your hands by your relatives and the law. I also say that the reason it was taken out of your hands is because you have demonstrated that in whatever way, through whatever circumstance you have, that you are not capable of looking after yourself. I want to tell you that I have given away my power of attorney to 2 different people. All right. So, to me, having a power of attorney, is not a big thing to me. I have 2 different people who have my power of attorney because I never know what will happen to me tomorrow. You didn't give it away, right? It was, well, what happened was, Britt, that whatever your diagnosis was, whatever your day-to-day functioning level is such that it is deemed that you are not capable of making decisions for yourself. If you were acting in a way that showed that you were capable, then you would presumably get control back. So I'm not saying you choose your level of capacity. That's not what I'm saying. I know a lot of people with Asperger's that are actually working. All right. So it's not Asperger's that is the problem. It is how you are functioning within that. So, I know somebody who's got Asperger's and has a job that is, that really suits their level of Asperger's. And it's, it's interesting because he wanted, yes, Pat's son does. Okay. So you understand, Britt, this isn't about I can't do it because I've got Asperger's. It's about how well are you functioning with it? All right. Or do you prefer to use it as your reason for not being able to do things? Well, I don't know if it is because I'm not a medical person and I haven't done an evaluation of you. But, what I'd like to say is that just because you have it doesn't mean that you're not capable of living on your own. All right. And that is the way that Pat's son gets to live on his own is because he has a wife and a child, and he is supporting both of them. Way to go, Pat. Pat, how did you teach him that? How did you teach him to be self-sufficient within that? Maybe we can give a clue to... Well, I have a learning disability, but I've never let that stop me. It's just like, really? I didn't find out about it, quite honestly, until much later on in my life, but I have a learning disability. So, to me, he has trouble with social skills. Actually, interestingly enough, most people with Asperger's do. They don't recognize the social cues. All right. But he doesn't give up, right? He's constantly doing what he can to... Yeah. So, to me, I look at it, and when I found out that I had a learning disability, I went, wow, that explains so much. And the only reason I found out, this might amuse you, the only reason I found out was I was actually the keynote speaker for a learning disability thing. And I said, well, before I do the speech, give me lots of information. I want information. I want to know what it looks like, what it sounds like. Hi, Jamie, and so forth, right? I wanted to know all those things. And I'm sitting there studying it all, and I'm going, uh-oh. And then I'm going, uh-oh, that's me, and that's me. But what it also told me was the reason that I have a couple of my gifts is because I have a learning disability. And what God gives you, takes away on one way, he's inclined to give you back on another. And so it really was quite funny. All right, so Beth is saying one of the cashiers that has the disability, he works just fine. Just have to remind him to focus sometimes. Yes, it's about what do you want to do? If every time that you do anything wrong, you blame it on your Asperger's, then hello, guess what? Yeah, that's blaming the disease. My attitude is if you act as a responsible human being, regardless of the fact of your diagnosis. I'm thinking about Beth. Beth has an illness that would probably, in anybody else's book, give her reason to sit at home and do diddly. Okay? But she doesn't. Yeah, she runs the life of 4 people. And Oprah also said, and listen to this, whatever has happened to you in the past has no power over the present moment because life is about now. Right? It's like, forget about what you did or didn't do yesterday. Forget what people said about you yesterday. All right? What are you going to do for yourself today? That's the whole thing. What are you going to do for yourself today? Kim, I'm not sure if some disabilities are a type of autism. I think all sorts of disabilities are a type of autism, to the best of my knowledge. But it isn't a reason to not be responsible or active in the world. All right. Yeah, I don't know that for sure, but Britt, I believe that it is possible. Maybe ADHD is. I really don't know. It's under the spectrum, okay? And you have probably better knowledge of that. I want to say though that for me, this is not about what's wrong with you. And this is the whole point that I keep trying to make to people. Don't concentrate on what is wrong with you. Beth doesn't concentrate on what is wrong with her. She concentrates on getting on with her life and being responsible and active and getting out and getting exercise and doing the right things. All right? Jody does not concentrate on the fact that she, ended up overcoming cancer and getting lymphedema in exchange. She doesn't concentrate on that. What she does is she deals with it on a daily basis. All right. She deals with the fact that, she can't go out for a walk anymore. But guess what? She is out there participating in, supporting me in my diabetes journey, right? By doing arm rolls. She's doing whatever she can to support the system. Of course, it's frustrating, Britt. I don't know how to tell you this. Life is frustrating. And if you can't deal with frustration, then I'd start working on that. Because I don't know many things in life. I can assure you that Beth gets pretty darn frustrated with her, with her diagnosis. I'm sure that Jody gets pretty darn frustrated with the fact that she needs help more times than she wants it. I am certain that Lauren does not get anything but pretty frustrated about being back in hospital again because, her legs keep ulcerating up and she has to have total bed rest to be able to get them better. Life is frustration. And so, this is to me is like, I really don't want to hear about frustration anymore. What I want to do is to talk to people about what are you going to do? Not how much you're going to go, well, it's so frustrating and it's not fair. Life isn't fair. life isn't easy, but you can be happy if you let go of the constant excuses and come up with, what can I do? Let me see what I can do better today than I did yesterday. When we were talking to one of our viewers whose parents treat her like a child and she's in her 30s, I said, well, what happens in a day? Well, my parents come and wake me up. Why? Why do your parents come and wake you up? You're an adult. Wake yourself up. Get an alarm clock going. And so, to me, this is like, think about this, people. How you look at your life determines how your life is. And so, to me, but on the other hand, I also know that everybody has the right to live their life that way. I assure you that I'm certain a lot of people tried to tell me how much better my life was going to be if I gave up smoking, but I chose to carry on. Do I actually think my life is that much better for giving it up? No, not necessarily, but I'm not angry about that. What I'm pleased about is that it was my personal hurdle to overcome, right? It was my personal hurdle to overcome. It was my addiction. And some people are addicted to cigarettes, and some to booze, and some to drugs, and some to work, and some to being sick. We know that, some people get their jollies out of, well, I've got an excuse for everything now. But there are other people who choose not to be addicted to what's wrong with them and choose to do their best. I'm talking about Pat a year ago, 2 years ago, was our excuse specialist, if I remember correctly. We all used to love it because Pat could come up with more excuses why she couldn't do things than most people we know. And yet look what she's done in the last year. She's lost 38 pounds and she's got herself a full-time job. Now, she didn't do that by carrying on giving excuses. I'm pretty sure about that. And one day, I hope she will tell us what turned the switch, Pat. That's what I'd like to know. Because, we literally used to laugh. Okay, here comes Pat. Now we got all the excuses coming in now. But we did it with great love. But you were good at them. And so it's like something turned that switch. What was it? I know what turned the switch for me to give up smoking. But I think it's really important if we can work out what was it that turned the switch, because what I find really interesting, it's very different things for different people. What I wouldn't do for myself, I wanted to do for young Juliana and Benji and Judy's first home, real home, right? You wanted to live to see your grandchildren growing up. You see, the same thing, it's about the babies, right? Now, I didn't have a maternal bone in my body as far as I was concerned, but I can have that conversation with Juliana now, which is, thank you, honey. Because of you, I gave up smoking. And she looks at me like I'm weird, which we know I am. But, it's interesting, isn't it? What makes the difference? And you just adopted a 5-year-old. Okay. Yeah, that takes a little bit more running around. But he sure was cute as a button when I saw him. I can't remember his name. I know Jody remembers it, but I can't remember. And he needs you for at least another 20 years. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, and Beth is saying, I felt safe at home, but I got sick and tired of watching people leave outside my window. I wondered where they were off to, work, shopping. I changed when I started discovering what other people do. Yeah. James, that's his name. Thank you, Pat. Yeah, you see, so to me, this is like, I felt the same way, Beth. I don't know if this makes any sense about children. When I first remembered Judy handing me Juliana when she was, 3 months old, I said, please don't give her to me. I have no idea what to do. And she said, but the way you learn is to do it. So here, and I'm going, don't give me your newborn, I was so terrified to drop her. And I'm thinking, I'm certain everybody has that, but you don't realize that. And I never did do the baby thing well. I chose not to learn about diapers. I'm going, why would I be silly enough to do that one? So now, but now, you see, the difference is now that even the twins are grown up a little bit more now. Now I choose to sit on the floor and play with them. All right? Why? And it's difficult for me to go sit on the floor. I think you all know that. And it's even more difficult to get back up again. But I choose to get down on the floor and play with them because there is nothing in the world, as I have found out, like the look on the children's faces when you do that. Not when you try and play from a dizzy height. There's something about when you get down on the floor and go, okay, what are we playing now? That they just almost shriek with delight. And, I think to them, it's a message of, I really mean this. I'm in it to play with you now. That's why I've come down to this level. And, I cannot tell you the joy I see on their faces when I do it. And for some reason, Mia in particular, and Mia doesn't have a long attention span with very many things, but boy, does she love it when I come down to play with her, right? And it's really funny how I've noticed that. But I think that's true of anybody, isn't it? Isn't it true of anybody that when we actually take a moment to focus on that person, it's important to them. So Oprah said, so go ahead, fall down. The world looks different from the ground. One of the things I always say to people is, if you have a guest bathroom, make sure you use it at least a couple of times a week. How many of you have a guest bathroom in your house or a guest bedroom? The most important thing is to go use it, because when you use that bathroom, you're going to see what your guests are going to see. If you have a guest bedroom, go lie on the bed every night, because you're going to see what your guests are going to see. Don't just go in there and stand at your height and look down. Sit on the john, and see what they're going to see. I'm amazed how many things you go, wow, if I hadn't sat down here, I'd never noticed that it's really dusty under there, or something like that. So they say of restaurateurs, eat at your own restaurant. In other words, don't just presume what you are doing works. Go and sit. Go and sit as a diner and be served and listen to the people around you while they are being served. Eat at your own restaurant. I try pretty hard to, if I'm doing something with DearMamaSal, I want to know, what is this like for the viewer? Not what is it like for me, but what is it like for the viewer? So just a thought, right? Oprah also said, I remember a specific moment, watching my grandmother hang the clothes on the line and her saying to me, you're going to have to learn how to do this. And me being in a space of awareness and knowing that in my life, it was not going to be the same as my grandmother's life, right? She knew in that moment that she didn't want to be hanging up clothes. That's interesting, isn't it? And so how many people have done that? The reason they became successful is they didn't want to do what their parents did. That's like, no, I don't want to live like that. Yeah, Beth is saying she has a guest bathroom and she turned it into her personal bathroom. Yeah, exactly. So you will see a lot of things, in that bathroom that other people wouldn't normally have seen. Yes, the undercover boss is a story about that. Yes, Brett, that's a good example. All right, where The boss goes incognito to go and work in his own company to listen to what his staff actually think about what he's doing. Understand, said Oprah, that the right to choose your own path is a sacred privilege. Use it, dwell in possibilities. Dwell in possibilities. So I would ask you all to have a look at what is it that you would need to. I'm thinking about the question that Britt was asking. Britt, I wonder if you have a checklist of the things that you would need to be able to do for them to consider you self-sufficient. Do you have that list somewhere? So you can start working on those skills and learn them. Probably one of them is that you have a job. One of them probably is that you're capable of, feeding yourself, which I think you already do. I would get that list. What things would managing your own money. All right. So get that list. And if you really do want to be treated like a self-functioning person, then you need to know what it is you still need to learn. But when they try to teach you how to manage your money, do you get frustrated? And do you want to act like a child and just spend it when you get it, Or do you show that you can manage money as opposed to spend it? We can all spend it, but can you manage it? Right? And the thing is, do you want to be independent enough to learn? Because I truly believe, and I'm sure Pat's son will tell you, that it's not easy to learn, but he learned how to do it because he wanted to be self-sufficient. So the measure of your ability to work on these things, I think it was Abraham Lincoln who every month, worked on one of his weaknesses, just one. That's why I said this year I'm working on putting more love into stuff rather than just the sniffing. Absolutely, Britt. I totally agree with you, Mom. And for those listening on the replay, Britt's mum said that when he starts acting like an adult, then and only then will she start treating you like one. Until then, she's going to treat you like a child. I think that's 100%. And that's what we said to another viewer that we've got, that, if she wants to be treated like an adult, she needs to behave like one. It's interesting. He has a really high IQ, but does get frustrated easily. All right. It's that's why I asked about the frustration level, Pat, because my memory of this other guy that I knew that was Asperger's, his frustration was the thing he had to work on most of all. But he literally worked hard with a therapist to keep his frustrations under control. He went and got skills on how to do that. Not just how to do that for a normal functioning person, but how do you do that as somebody who has Asperger's? Yes, I believe that's why I asked about that to the Brit. Yeah, the age of majority means nothing. If you're acting like a child, you're not responsible. Right. I totally agree with her. And he always thinks he's right. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So, but why is she wrong, Britt? Why is the fact that you only grown up when you act like one? Why is that wrong in your eyes? Okay, so that's why I'm saying to you, Britt, I would go to your mom and say, what behaviors would I need to change for you to start seeing me as an adult? I want to know. Do you do your own wash? I'm just throwing things out there. Yes, exactly, right? You want to be treated like an adult, but you scream and swear, having a tantrum like a 5-year-old. Yeah, that's not an adult behavior. And why? Because you didn't get your own way. You do your own washing, your own shopping, and your cooking. That's 3 great steps towards self-sufficiency. That is awesome. So what else does she need you to get under control? That's what I'd be asking. All right. What does the government need you to be able to prove for you to be self-sufficient? So, that's what I'm asking. Yes, you know something? My kids could do the wash way before 10. All right. My kids learned how to do the wash probably by 6. Um, but what happens is they learn to take it to the wash way before then. I think this is really important. If you treat Beth saying she had to make a cup of coffee. She was watching me drink mine. What makes you think I'm drinking coffee, Beth? Because of the coffee mug? Actually, you're right. So, well, I quite agree, Britt. Not everybody in this world should be trusted, right? I quite agree with it. You've got to learn, that's part of being an adult, is learning how to. But even though, there are an awful lot of us adults, high functioning adults, Britt, who still trust the wrong people. So, that's not a major thing. We all get, have moments where people mess with us. So, the thing is this, that it doesn't mean perfection. It means that you are discerning, that you can understand the basics of it. The reason we're doing emotional intelligence on a Friday night is because that is what lets most of us down, is our emotional unintelligence, if you like. And Oprah also said, you are responsible for the energy that you create for yourself. You're responsible for the energy you bring to others. And so I look at it and go, what sort of energy do you give out, right? Do you give out an energy of a winner or a loser? Do you give out the energy of a lover or a hater? Do you give out the energy, as we were saying, of a victim or a victor? Do you give out good energy or negative energy? And I don't just mean to the ones that you love, but to everybody. If I took a cross section of your friends and everybody else, I think a lot of people would, what would a lot of people say? I am certain there are a lot of people in my life that wouldn't speak of me well, right? Because obviously not everybody likes me, and that's okay. But, if you ask the majority of my family and friends, not my family necessarily, but my friends, all right, how they felt about me, they'd probably say the same sort of things. The reason they're still my friends are probably for the same reasons. The reasons why they like or dislike me, probably the same reasons, all right? And so, to me, it's like, do you stand up for who you are? Are you the best you can be regardless? And I think that's a really important part of your life, is that as we all look at it. So, you look at, did things come easily for Oprah? No, I don't think so. She worked her heart out to be treated as a good human being. Beth said, today I gave out our teamwork energy. My stock guy worked so hard today because I motivated him by we worked on the stock together. He said when he gets off work, he needs to lie down. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, so he was trying to keep up to your pace though, Beth. And my question is, are you expecting everybody to work at your pace? Because I would like to suggest, Beth, that your pace is unusual. You're right. And you could actually wear a few people out, getting them to go at your pace. But you could teach them some of your shortcuts or some of the ways that you go about it. You could teach them your focus, how you focus, those sort of things. Hi, Ty. Good to see you, honey. With age, Oprah said, comes the understanding and appreciation of your most important asset, your health. All right? So why do we have to get older before we start appreciating it? Well, I think that's changing. From what I see in today's society, people are worried about their health a lot earlier. And that is wonderful. What Oprah also said were books were her path to personal freedom. I learned to read at age 3 and soon discovered there was a whole world to conquer that went beyond our farm in Mississippi. And again, I would say, remember that. Oprah chose to educate herself. All right? Oh, Beth saying that the guy she was training, he was 62 years old, and I did the heavy stuff and let him do the light stocking. So we could knock it out better and give him the light duty. Yeah, that's teamwork. Yeah, I quite agree with you. So, to me, this is about, there are no excuses today for being badly educated on anything. Today's internet, today's Khan University or Khan Academy, today's open university, whatever, means that anybody who wants to have an education, you might not have the piece of paper, right? You might not sit the exams. But the most amazing thing is you can have the knowledge if you choose to. And I think that is the greatest gift. How do you spend your day? That is the other thing. How do you spend your day? Do you spend your day learning? Do you spend your day playing games? Do you spend your day, how do you spend your day? Because if somebody sees you during the day, they probably have a fair idea of what motivates you. I would say yes, Britt. If you're poorly educated today, it is out of choice. I think we've got to that stage. I was saying to the listeners and the viewers, Britt, that I bought myself 3 new software programs this year, just so I could challenge my brain some more. Because I realized that the more I challenge my brain, the longer it will serve me. And so I don't know if it's just laziness. It just tells people a lot about who you are. I'm reading 4 books at the moment. Hi, Niasha. Good to see you, honey. I'm reading 4 books at the moment, right? I read a chapter of each every week, at least. And they are a couple of political books and a couple of learning books. So, it's like you can tell what interests me. I do play games, but what sort of games do I play? All right. And, it's like, if you look at everything that everybody does, it will tell you a lot. It'll tell you a lot about that person. I want to tell you something, Britt. Nyasha, who's just come on, she lives in Trinidad. She is almost blind. And she works. And also, her family treat her like a child. She is the person that I was talking to. So we are helping her learn how to act like an adult. And she has started exercising. Way to go, Nyasha. I'm really proud of you for that. She has been learning new stuff. She has been doing all sorts of stuff. So what Nyasha tells me is she wants to be treated like an adult because she's doing the things that make her look like an adult. All right. So, what I'm saying to you, Britt, is find out what behaviors people would want from you and start working on them. So Beth is busy now thinking about taking class for her accounting. Hang on, let me see here. The only class I need to get my degree for accounting is, don't laugh, public speaking. And it's the only class I need. I kept skipping that class, but now it's the only one I need. Okay, Beth, I can help you ace that class. I'm not joking. If ever you wanted a one-on-one coach on how to do public speaking, I will happily teach you everything I know. And by the way, Beth, I think you've already got it aced. You see, you already have what I consider to be the most important parts of being a public speaker. You have courage, you have the ability to tell the truth, and you have the ability to laugh at yourself. Those three things alone make you a great public speaker. All right? A great public, not just a good one, but a great one. People used to say, Beth, I'm not joking, people used to put on evaluations. I could listen to this lady telling me how to peel oranges. I could listen to her all day telling me how to peel oranges. I didn't get that comment once. I got it all the time. Why this peeling oranges thing came up, I don't know. Now, the nerves, no, you don't have to get the nerves down. Beth, you see, this is what you believe. The day you don't have nerves is the day you should not be speaking. I always said to people, it's not about having butterflies in your stomach. It's how to teach the butterflies to fly in formation, Beth. All right? See, that's the difference. The difference is not I mustn't be scared. I've been scared every time I got up to speak. And they paid me vast amounts of money. And I used to get up there, Beth, and I'd say, I bet some of you think I get up here and I have no fear. Feel free to come and feel my armpits anytime you like. And the whole room would just burst out laughing. I'd go, you think I'm joking? Let me take off my jacket. See, the thing is that I never pretended that I wasn't scared. I'd go, you want to stay? I used to say things like, you want to stand here and see what you look like from here? Anybody? And somebody would put their hand up. I go, come on up. And I said, how does it look? She said, scary. I said, yeah, that's why they pay me so much. You know what I mean? And it's just like, Beth, you can have so much fun with this. I can teach you not only to be a speaker, but a hysterically funny one if you want to, because you have everything you need to do it. It would be my honor. Okay, and so the thing we were saying, Nyasha's saying that she's a very sensitive person. But the thing is this, the trick is about the frustration levels. The way you respond is childish, all right? And that is what we are doing, is we're saying that when you respond like a child, and that's what a child does, when you get insulted, you lose your temper. That means you do not have self-control. All right. And that is part of learning how to be an adult. And Nyasha's learning that. We helped her with that a couple of weeks ago or a week ago. Right. And, the thing is this, she's practicing it now. Learn to let it go. Grow up. If you get hurt every time I mean, can you imagine, guys, how many insults I have had thrown at me through being a YouTuber? How many people have told me that, I'm having an affair with Benji, or, I am Judy's worst enemy, or, or that my nails are false, you name it. If I reacted to all of these things, then, I would be a very unhappy person. You know something, Ty? I'm not surprised that you have a knack for it. Yes, because you're a natural entertainer. We will always remember you for the hat. You see, even saying I'm part of Generation Snowflake, right? It's like another reason. I think it's wonderful that you're all choosing. Oh, and yes, can you remember that? The first makeup video I did, for those of you who go back that far, Pat remembers, I nearly didn't do another makeup video ever. I used the brush. I only had one brush. I didn't have 16 of them. I had the brush. So I was busy putting everything on with the brush. And boy, did they rip me apart for that. All right? They ripped me apart for that. And I'm going, when I grew up, we didn't get a choice. It was the brush. And so now it really makes me laugh. You watch that video, right? Oh, and the comments, I broke, I couldn't believe it. I was shaking. I was so angry. And then I realized, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I can do this. I've got to go, guys. I've got dinner to cook. I'm hoping that the quotes from Oprah gave some of you a moment of thought. And I would like to say to all of us, not just Britt or Nyasha or anybody else, when we act like an adult, we get treated like one. When we act like a child, don't be surprised if we get treated like one. For dinner, I am doing turkey breast with a peanut butter, soy sauce, and lime coating. I am also doing scalloped potatoes and salad. How's that sound? It's my potato day. I allow myself to have potatoes. Yeah. So everybody have a super week. And, I'd like to remind us that we all are trying to take steps in the right direction. It's not just the Brit or Nyasha or anybody. To me, it's like every day we're all taking steps to try and do better. And don't think that you are alone, because you're not. We all get treated like idiots or like children. You ask Kimmy about that. She knows all about that. I am certain that there are people that treat Jody like she's an idiot because, of her size. And, it's all about, we choose to take steps in the right direction. Choose love over fear. Right, Joanna? I want to tell you, Joanna, if that's the only thing you take out of watching Dear Mama Sal, what an incredible gift that would be. I'm not joking. What an incredible gift that would be, that you choose love over fear. Well, I can assure you, Britt, that I have more than my fair share, right? And the difference is I don't talk about it a whole lot, Britt. I don't talk about the negative stuff a whole lot. I try and concentrate on the positive. I don't talk about a lot of stuff because I am working on that stuff. I am very grateful to be 71 and have the skin that I have. I don't spend a whole lot of time talking about the aches and pains. And look at that, even Beth started my skin regimen and found that it helped her too. I'm delighted. So, you look at it and you go, Beth helped me learn how to pre-prep food. If we all listen to one another, we all have gifts to share. Yeah, I want to tell you, Beth, and it keeps getting better. I used to have lines here, laughter lines, and I used to have cigarette smoking lines here, you know, really bad ones. So I look at it and go, we can do this, all right? We can do it together. I need to go and cook. So here's a big hug for you all. Don't concentrate on the negatives. Concentrate on doing better this week. There's so much time to learn. Yes, whatever it is you want to learn. You have so much that you can learn. I think about the fact that we in this generation have more at our fingertips than any other generation before us. We have no excuse not to be well educated if we choose to. How did I get rid of those lines? I use Lubriderm cocoa shea butter or something every day under my makeup. I start with globs of that stuff. I don't put it on at night. I don't do all the right things. Just every day before I put makeup on, if I'm wearing makeup, I use Lubriderm. And this is what it did to my skin. Remember, I spent 20 years in the African sun without sunscreen. I should have the skin of a rhinoceros. So you want a really cheap way to give your skin back its elasticity. I'm a great believer in Lubriderm. and apparently so is Beth now. So the only thing is it hasn't got rid of my bags. That's something else. I gotta go. Bye-bye, everybody. We will see you soon. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, remember to look after one another. Remember to keep learning. Remember to keep taking one step in the right direction. Stop your excuses. Have a fun life. And the way you have a fun life is to be grateful for everything. This is me giving you a big hug. Bye-bye for now.